I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up, because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
Oh yeah, it's October, my favorite time of the year, and we're carving pumpkins. So obviously I'm not reinventing the wheel here. So for these pumpkins, just like every other video you see for the chainsaw carved pumpkins, you start out with the pattern, kind of like a tic-tac-toe pattern. So you make a cut here, make a cut here, make a cut here, and here. This little middle part here, this is what your stem's gonna be. And then once this is all cut away, then you carve the stem. Then you're also gonna make cuts around the bottom at an angle, obviously, and then cuts down at an angle. But these are gonna be your first cuts. See, so now you got your pattern cut in. Leave this middle square. You want this to be kind of big because this is gonna be the actual base of your stem. You're gonna trim it down. Once you get it all cut away, I'll show you that. But you're gonna trim the stem down. So the biggest part of the stem is gonna be the base. The rest is gonna get tapered down. And I always make my cuts about the size of, about as deep as the bar. So you see where the bar is? You have it so the bar is pretty much level with the top of the log. And that kind of gives you your depth. See? That's what I do, at least. So now you're gonna cut these pieces here, the checkerboard, you're gonna cut it away just to leave this middle part. This is your stem. So you see how wide this is, but you're gonna taper it down to give you the actual stem shape. Okay, so now you get a closer look and you see that we cut the top all the way around at like an angle, and then we cut the bottom at the same type of angle. So that gives you the basic pumpkin shape. Now stem, like I said, you keep this part, this main part, you keep that wide because you're gonna taper it down. Make it come to a point or a curve or something so it'll look like, you know, those over there. Okay, so now we'll start with the chainsaw and we'll just start shaping. Circle all the way around. Just be careful when you're doing this bottom angle that you don't go too deep to where you hit that bolt that's coming up through there, because the whole point of this jig is so that you're not hitting metal. So there is still one bolt that comes up through the middle, so just be careful with that angle. Real quick before we go on, if you want to see how I made this jig for chainsaw carving smaller projects, you'll be able to click on the video at the end, or just go to my channel and watch the chainsaw carving jig video. It really is a helpful tool. Okay, now you're ready for the finishing work. Now that you got your pumpkin, basic shape of your pumpkin, like that. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're gonna clean it up here in a bit. But now you can start going in and drawing out where you wanna make your cuts. So again, this is the stem. This is the fattest part of the stem. So you wanna start doing maybe some angle cuts, you know, just to give you an idea. Maybe over here, you do there. So, you know, you're gonna cut at angles or downward, even like a pyramid. You could even cut them like a pyramid just so you get more of a stem shape. You do that all the way around, and you could map out where you want your lines in the pumpkin. So, you know, do them wherever you want them. Just go all the way around, do that, and you'll start cutting them out. Now, when you get to this stage, you could loosen this bolt underneath, and then you're able to spin the pumpkin. That way you can just have the pumpkin, if you're standing in one spot, you could be standing right here and just have the pumpkin work with you. So you could turn it, turn it, turn it with you, and you're still staying away from the metal. So that's another good thing about the jig. You just loosen the bolt just enough to where it's still attached, but you can spin it. And then you can just work around it and make stuff a little faster. So now you see we got to the point where we cut the stem down. Like I said, cut it at those angles. That gives you the stem shape. And then you make your little plunge cut, but I would only go maybe an inch. You only want to go about that deep with this initial cut. So you go around, trace your lines, go all the way around. You got your plunge cut. Now you'll come through and you'll cut at an angle on both sides of the line, and that'll give you the more realistic pumpkin shape. Okay, so now that it's all done, you got the detail for the most part. I wouldn't go more detail on it. I mean, you can grind it, sand it down if you like, but I kind of think that the rougher it is, the cooler it looks. As for finish, if you just let it go natural like this, after time, it will age and turn gray. It'll turn gray like, kind of like those pallets or even like that. That's what the natural progression of the wood. But yeah, so I like the natural look. Some of them I burn, you can see like that, and some of them I paint. So I'll show you that technique right now. So the first thing you want to do before you either paint or burn these is get all the dust off, because the dust buildup is going to block whatever you're trying to paint or burn. So if there's a pile of dust in there and you burn and it all looks like that, and then you get the dust off, you're going to see like a bald spot or a light spot. Depending on what you're going for, you don't want that. Same goes for paint. If you paint it over top of the dust, when the dust blows away, there's no paint underneath, and it just doesn't look right. So always either blow off with like a blower, or even one of those little air can, get all the dust off first, then burn it, paint it, do all the finishing work. Also, to burn, I always get one of these little propane torches. These things are awesome for so many reasons. I have a big torch for bigger projects, but these work great for the little ones. This one I'm doing a different technique, so this is for a client. This is going to be the Cleveland Browns pumpkin, so this is going to be painted different. But you would burn the whole thing. If you just wanted to leave it like that, that looks cool. Or you could paint over it. You use flat black and like a flat orange if you're going to do the pumpkin color. The black is just to give it depth. Just in the cracks. Like I said, don't worry if you get overspray on the black, that looks fine. You just want to be able to see the black in the cracks. That just gives it depth. That's it. And keep in mind too, this is wood, so it's going to crack. If it does crack, 9 out of 10 times it'll crack in the crack, since these are already started. So, and the more cracks you get, I think, especially in these pumpkins, if you want to keep them nice and rustic like this, the more cracked, the better it looks, and the more realistic it looks. And now that your pumpkins are all carved and painted, you could put a clear coat, a protective coat on them if you like. I normally don't put anything on them, to be honest with you, because I like the way they age. But if it's something that's going to be outside and it's something that you want to last a lifetime, then yeah, you could do yearly maintenance on them. You know, like every year, maybe put a coat of polyurethane or something, if you want to do that. You know, like I said, you can't go wrong with these. There's no such thing as a perfect pumpkin. It doesn't have to be round. It doesn't have to be, you know, like I said, just have fun with it, man. This is a great learning great first project for any beginning chainsaw carvers. And just for me doing the pumpkins, I do a lot of them this time of year, and it's good practice. And like I said, you can't mess them up. You really can't. It's impossible. So just have fun with them. You know, it's you're only gonna get better. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you want to see how I made that my jig that I used for the pumpkins, It's a great way to secure your small carving project. So I'll attach a link, or you could click on the video at the end of this one, and it'll take you to the tutorial on how I made my jig. All right? Happy Halloween.